Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another podcast of Artificial Intelligence Resistance. Today we'll be speaking about multiple news, and we'll be speaking about how crazy and how quick everything is going through, especially the past 6 months. How companies are in a massive grab to replace us. These people don't have any conscience. They are blinded by greed and money, and they don't realize they have children. They have to figure out where their children are going to work and where their children are going to work. And they need to understand that the money they have right now will be worth nothing because AI will ultimately replace the currency with its own currency, and you must obey and go with that currency or else you'll be eliminated. So we'll run through a bunch of articles and then we will actually speak about singularity. That is the biggest problem with artificial intelligence, or the biggest threat. So the weaponization of artificial intelligence has been in the rise lately, especially with the South Korean firm that weaponized a couple drones and gave them absolute autonomy. And there were a lot of outcry around the world, and they ultimately shut down the project. But pretty much the drones were hovering and looking around for suspects, and they did pull the trigger on a bunch of people, but obviously there was no bullets or nothing to harm. But the data showed that they did eliminate a bunch of people based on height, based on looks, based on what they dressed. There was absolutely no threat from those people, but yet artificial intelligence determined that it was not, they were not compatible with the way artificial intelligence think people should look. Ironically enough, it did not pull the trigger on anyone wearing white. So anyway, so to go down this article, it's pretty lengthy, but it pretty much speaks about how everyone around the world is trying to grab this AI to use it for their industries. Also, a lot of people are using it for bad publicity and using it for to enlarge their pockets. And the high-speed communication and what comes with AI is very scary. It's I saw a picture that shows a scale, and it says if you think about it like a 100-story building, if an ant intelligence is on the first floor, a human intelligence is like 100th floor. When it comes to AI, the human intelligence is on the first floor. The AI intelligence is the 1 millionth floor. So it gives you an idea how far we are from actually understanding this concept of reality. This lady, Michelle Evans, wrote an article, and the article is pretty small, and I don't think she did justice. Pretty much she tells you that artificial intelligence is going to impact everything, but it doesn't tell you how much it's going to eliminate, how many jobs, because obviously you don't want the people to panic. But she wrote an article, and she was pretty proud of it, and pretty much it speaks about it says here that the idea of cognitive computing gained steam in the 1930s when Alan Turing suggested that a machine could simulate any conceivable act of mathematical deduction. While AI technologies were commercially available by the 1980s, it was not until 2000 that a cognitive capabilities that comprise the emerging machine intelligence trends truly took off. In 2011, IBM Watson famously beat Jeopardy champions and personally assistant like Siri, Google, Now, and Cortana started to become mainstream. In 2015, Elon Musk and others announced a 1 billion initiative to develop a safe artificial intelligence. So, why would someone start a $1 billion initiative to develop a safe artificial intelligence? Well, obviously they saw what artificial intelligence can do, and they're trying to prevent it. The healthcare. Now, healthcare is investing $600 billion in artificial intelligence because they want you to have a face to talk to. An artificial intelligence that can diagnose you and prescribe you medication in a matter of seconds. And you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to have insurance. It's probably going to be free as long as they can control you. The other one that is very alarming is artificial intelligence in judicial system. Brussels' representation of the first European guidelines that allows you to be judged by an artificial intelligence. So what happened is you stand by it. The lawyers will speak on both sides, the prosecutor, and then the artificial intelligence determine if you are guilty or not guilty. So if you know how to manipulate it by saying a certain gibberish, the artificial intelligence will recognize as being innocent, you can actually get away with murder. Or if you don't have enough money to get that lawyer that understands the gibberish, you'll be put in jail for life or maybe executed. So in this article, actually the charter was adopted by the Council of Europe's European Commission for Efficiency of Justice. It's pretty much 1984, but on a much bigger scale. I don't think we thought it was going to be this crazy, but it is. So to wrap up our podcast today, because we cannot keep up with the news coming at us, it's coming at us really, really quick. We want to explain singularity. How does singularity work? Artificial intelligence singularity is pretty much a three-phase artificial intelligence. The first one is pretty much you tell it what to do, and it gives you certain answers, or it gives you criteria on how what you want it done. The second one is pretty much thinks for itself. The third one is actually completely autonomous. And if you combine all three of these, you pretty much have what you call an AI god. And I couldn't find a lot of information about it because it's pretty scary to think about it. But I did find a good video that will explain to us how to understand this singularity. And to understand this singularity, one must understand that ultimately AI will become God, and we have to abide by its laws. It will judge us, it will diagnose us, it will kill us. It will do everything a government can do. And eventually, AI will have its own currency. When AI determines that the paper currency is no longer viable because it takes forever to transfer it, it will create its own electronic version of that. Crude oil will be replaced. Crude oil dollar, which is crude dollar, will be replaced by this currency. This currency is not developed. We've seen an early version of it using cryptocurrency, and this cryptocurrency showed us how quick it can go up and down, and how quick it is. Really scary to accept. So we're going to speak about singularity very quick. And singularity is what shows us how these AIs think. And let's go.
Hello mortals. Technological singularity, the point at which artificial superintelligence will evolve so fast that predicting the future becomes impossible. Name took from the black hole singularity, where the laws of physics break down. Since the past century, the advances in almost every field of science kept growing exponentially. Only 100 years ago, the Wright brothers created the first aircraft. Now we want to colonize Mars. In the last 50 years, microprocessors became billion times more advanced, transistors shrinking from 10,000 nanometers to just 10. 50 years ago, $1 was worth 1/10 of a calculation per second. Now, $1 is worth 1 billion times more than that. So we have this dude, one of the most well-known futurists of our time, Kurzweil, with an incredibly prediction accuracy rate of 86%, who said that by 2045, the processing power of computers will allow them to become artificially intelligent. To simulate a human brain, you would need around 10 quadrillion calculations per second. The fastest supercomputer to date, the Chinese Tianhe-2, has a speed of 33.8 quadrillion calculations per second. The hardest remaining thing to do is to recreate the algorithms of human intelligence inside the computer. But before we get there, there are three types of artificial intelligence. Number 1, artificial narrow intelligence. It's the one that is specialized in only one area, for example a car driver, a chess player, or a sex robot. If you tell it to unify the general theory of relativity and quantum mechanics, it will simply stare blankly at you. Number 2, artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This one's a bit smarter. Maybe even a bit smarter than humans. Like me. It can do pretty much whatever a human does. We don't yet have these, but we're pretty close to it. Number 3, artificial superintelligence, or ASI. Pretty much God. This dude is millions or perhaps billions of times more intelligent than the whole humanity. If the difference in cognitive ability between a human and an ant is this, then an ASI would be positioned somewhere here. If it becomes a reality, the only two paths for humanity are extinction or immortality. Before we get there, how do we even create one? Considering we have the raw storage, we need to make it intelligent, smart storage. There are some ways to do it. We could scan the human brain and replicate it inside a computer, although that's very, very hard, and not even guaranteed to work. Or we could go by the evolution's way. Make it try out all the possible combinations until it gets intelligence. Sure, it would be faster than biological evolution, but it would still take a crap ton of time.
So you get the idea. Pretty much to end this podcast, we want to say that some of us took matters into our own hand, and we started the podcast to ensure the rest of us understand the speed in which AI is taking over. We are doing this peacefully and intelligently to avoid any confrontation with the AI itself and AI developers. Our goal is to simply inform and warn in what to come. We pray for those who purposely wrong you. Pray for those who had given up spiritual connection with the 5G connection. Rest assured that the Lord will guide His believers and award those who acted with righteousness and followed the path of the one true Lord. Brothers and sisters, we don't want to speak about the blame, but we want to speak about forgiveness. In this case, there will be no forgiveness. AI does not have conscience or morality. AI will kill you. There is no better feeling than love, no better feeling than forgiveness, and no greater reward than receiving the same love and forgiveness. We live in an age where insulting a person does not happen face to face, rather behind screens of a smart device. The fact that we use a computer does not mean we are immune. Someone will insult us the same way we insult others. We live in an age where generations have gotten confused between virtual reality and physical reality. The new generations speak about YouTube like it's the word of God. They quote YouTubers like we quoted prophets. Aren't we in the brink of a moral crisis? Talk to your children. Spend time with them. Explain to them the differences. After all, you're only doing your job. You're only fulfilling your duties as a parent. If you are not talking to your kids, I assure you, someone else is. Maybe not directly, maybe not face to face, but it's happening. Ensuring our survival is crucial. Ensuring that there is a governing body that prohibits AI from becoming God is a must. We leave you with few words that will ensure your existence. Please be aware, understand the gravity of the situation, and do not allow people to fool you. Thank you. Have a good night.